The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
A chance in hell, but undoubtedly I look around and see we grow stronger than they can tell. Cause I can turn and run, but there's more that I can do. Now this is war, now this is war. No, I won't stop now, I'm the fire breaking through. Now this is war, now this is war.
Hello and welcome to the Wrestling to the MAX WWE 205 live review for June 27, 2017. And I'm your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, Mr. Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
Well, good to have you back, Paul, after last week. Gary filled in for you, so we are here talking about the latest in 205 live action, which sometimes feels like it goes on repeat, but hey, this show, I feel like they are improving in a lot of ways, especially with Titus doing his thing on Raw. We didn't get to see Titus this week.
Mm-hmm.
Felt kind of sad.
I was until we got the actual main event segment, which I actually kind of enjoyed because I thought it was a lot to read into.
Yeah, there is a lot in there, and I think it shows a lot for him too. But let's start here with the beginning of the show with Jack Gallagher being upset about that scoundrel Tony Nese, and that now he's going to wrestle Brian Kendricks, which I think this is the first time that we've seen him back since the whole thing with Tozawa. So what makes matters even funnier is that he's dressed up with a mustache and sort of making fun of Gallagher with this like terrible wig too. It's just like, well, England is a laughing stock and you're a joke, and then Kendrick just beats him up. Gallagher tries to come back, but eventually Kendrick gets pissed off because he can't win, and he grabs the umbrella and starts hitting Gallagher to the point where the umbrella breaks and he throws the handle of the umbrella into the crowd, which I worried about him hitting someone because there was a big "oh" when that happened. But yeah, heel Kendrick back in the fold.
I was still laughing pretty good from some of the stuff on SmackDown, so this felt right at home for me on this show. And you can work a little bit of a sillier thing with Jack Gallagher, and this is an angle or a match wrapped up in an angle to start a new program, and I'm okay with this. I think these guys are going to have some good stuff together, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do, because we know Kendrick can be silly. We know if you've watched any bit of his career, you know he can be silly. So I'm actually really looking forward to this.
He can also, he's shown in the Tozawa feud that he can be very serious and also have some jokes in there too. So I think it works really well for Gallagher, and it gives Gallagher a really good matchup here for them to have a feud. Hopefully they don't, make us watch like 20 matches with the guys, but we'll see. That goes along with this next segment here, which is a feud that I feel like they've wrestled a lot already. How many times are they going to do it? But they have a little bit of progression each time, so it seems okay. Drew Gulak discusses his loss from last week to Ali, and he's mad about them showing it too through the video. And he says, well, look, it's just telling me that this is why I am safe and sound with feet on the ground about my no-fly zone. And then Ali gets in his head and he says, well, look, why do you actually hate flying moves? Mm-hmm. Can you just not fly? Is that the problem? And so, with this, we go into this match. Again, these guys have a really good match here with Gulak actually going off the top rope and doing a superfly splash better than Tamina did in the ladder match. With the, the whole sign and everything. He misses, Ali hits the cradle, and he wins. Good stuff.
I enjoyed every bit of this. The promo was really good. Gulak, I think, has really come into his own since they've let him do this campaign for a better 205 live deal. Safe and sound, feet on the ground is a incredibly great catchphrase. And I loved their match. It was really, really good for a little 7-minute affair that was smartly worked. It plays into their story with Gulak going for the top rope splash and missing, and Ali sort of outsmarting him and getting in his head. And I love this. As much as they've wrestled, every little bit continues to add. And I think that I don't think that can be overstated enough, because I don't know if we've gotten that so much from 205 live feuds,
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to be all bombastic in what you're doing. You can be a little bit subtle, and they've done that every time. Just from Gulak when he goes up top and he can barely stand up there, just to show that maybe he's not so secure on the top rope. Mm-hmm. But that adds a lot, just from making you feel like, okay, he has a reason for wanting to have his feet on the ground. And it plays into what Mustafa Ali wanted to do, and I really like that. It makes him look smart, for God's sakes. That's a miracle. Yeah,
I mean, how often does that happen on any wrestling television show where a babyface gets to look smart?
Yeah, too many times. Just dumb stuff happening with the babyface. But if you ask Noam Dar, he's the one that looks stupid because he threw away the wrong bag. And, he promises to give money back to Davari. Davari doesn't care, because that's a drop in the bucket for him, $15,000. Can you give it to me, please? I'd love to have that, Davari. That's nothing for you? All right. But, Noam Dar he says, look, I would pay you the money back now, but my phone bill is so high because Alicia Fox wants to FaceTime me all the time, basically. And Davari's kind of getting pissed at this point. Alicia Fox even calls him. I love the fact that Noam Dar had Alicia Fox's theme song.
Yeah.
That's her ringtone. And then she gets on the phone and Davari just gets pissed and throws the phone against the wall. And, well, hey, at least you don't have to worry about having a FaceTime with Alicia Fox because she don't have a phone.
Yeah. Save you some money there on data or whatever. Yeah.
And then you have Cedric Alexander and Davari having this match, which I thought was solid for the two of them. Alexander does his normal, flying and technical stuff, and Davari getting the heat. Davari winds up winning thanks to a Noam Dar distraction. This feud never ends.
I mean, if you believe Dar's post-match promo where he says that he's done and he just wants to focus on Alicia Fox and making their relationship great, then it is over. But we all know after what just happened, it's not over. Maybe one more match, maybe 5 more matches, maybe 8 more months. This might just go forever, and it makes me sad, especially that Cedric had to lose here, who has been on such a great role. This kind of feels like a little bit of a step back.
It does, because the whole point of this was for him to get another win to keep, building up in the roster, and then Noam Dar makes him lose, so they have to have another freaking match, which is fine. Just please let that be the end. Mm-hmm. and don't have Alicia Fox show up to just continue the thing. But Noam Dar, of course, does attack Alexander just because they're feuding. They have to. But they did not end the show in a match here. They ended it with a promo of Neville wanting to go face to face with Akira Tozawa. You know, he doesn't appreciate the situation that they're in right now. That he calls Titus worldwide. I can't remember what he hit some name that, like, basically Titus is like giving him. He's brainwashing him into going on his side, and he shouldn't have to. Tozawa's basically just Neville just cuts a really good promo here.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that Tozawa comes out and he doesn't have to say anything. He just does the ha thing, and the crowd immediately starts doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They love it, and he just beats up Neville, and there you go. I mean, he doesn't have to do this whole. I mean, he can talk English well enough to probably have gone with him in the promo, but it works here on a lot of levels because Neville was making fun of him for, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth and all that. So it's just really good stuff here.
Like I said, I really enjoyed this. I think there's a lot of layers because if you listen to Neville and you watch his facial mannerisms and everything, there's almost this like manic personality coming out while he's doing his usual king spiel, which is always great. Like he's been phenomenal this entire title run and just really feels like one of the best characters on WWE TV right now. But I mean, maybe he's getting to that point where all this is just like, it's like pushing him towards this insane, crazy side that, you know, might change the character and freshen it up a little bit, which I might enjoy because Tozawa's simplicity seems to bug him.
Yeah.
And that's really, really interesting to me. And I mean, we know this is going to be a one match in a series for these guys, I'm sure. But I'm really looking forward to seeing them lock up at Great Balls of Fire. And the build for this has actually been pretty good. Say what you will about Titus, but he's been a great help to this. And as you said, Tozawa doesn't need to talk. He can. We know he can. We've heard him talk. He speaks English very well. But, I mean, just ha was all he needed tonight. And that's an immense mark of, you know, give that man a gold star. You know, that's good stuff.
Well, that tells you right there. I mean, he engaged the crowd just by saying one word over and over and over. More than about 90% of that roster does.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's wrestling or cutting promos. So that tells you something. He made, you know, this whole feeling that we have of maybe he goes beyond 205 Live. Maybe for that reason, just because he doesn't have to do a lot to be charismatic. We know he's a great wrestler. Pair him with Titus O'Neil, which has really worked. And, that's another thing that Neville doesn't like either, is he doesn't really care for Titus getting involved here and, sort of being a problem for him and making this match. And I wonder if they think about making Titus like the GM of 205 Live or something.
That would be interesting. Technically, I would suppose the Raw crew of Kurt Angle and Stephanie would still have domain over 205 Live, but like Tozawa wins the championship and suddenly Titus makes a $1 million deal to become the GM or something. That'd be really interesting.
Let's do it.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
It would certainly add a little bit of interest, from people of what's Titus going to do. And, the one thing we know Titus can do well is sit there and talk. So why not have him in a position where he can do that? Quite a bit. I know it sort of WWE eyes the 205 Live show, but you're sort of doing that because you need something to get some of these regular viewers to watch it. because it's not doing great in the network numbers. So at this point, let's keep going with this. It's working.
Yeah. And if it does transition Tozawa to more success on the main roster show, I mean, him and Apollo would make a great tag team. They're friends. They have a lot of experience with each other. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, heck, do the Dragon Gate stable and throw Kalisto in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just give them all something to do. But I feel like I'm glad that he's Titus is going around picking up other guys. I think that's good for if you're going to have now it's worldwide because you can't have two brands on one show, heaven forbid. So, but still, I just hope this doesn't take away from Apollo either, because he really needs more help than Tozawa at this point.
Right.
So I think that's all for 205.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you had anything else you wanted to talk about on here or the show, or did you find anything from last week that you liked?
I don't think there's anything that overly jumped out at me from last week. Nothing that I can at least think of that would make for an interesting topic of conversation. But, I mean, as usual on here, when 205 does have a good show, it's usually really, really good. So if you're looking for something to watch, this is an easy hour of television.
Yeah, and then you get Brian Kendrick coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could sort of skip the Cedric, Alexander and Dar stuff, but the Gulak and Mustafa Ali feud has been pretty good. And then, of course, watch the main event 7, because that's worth paying attention to, especially because it's what's been tying in with Raw lately. So, yeah. Until we are here next week talking about more 205, make sure you check out the rest of our stuff, whether it be on W2Net.com, or you can subscribe Wrestling to the Max or W2 Network for all of our podcasts. Make sure you listen to either our SmackDown review or Paul, Gary, and special guest Harry doing Raw. The regular episodes as well, which we're going to be doing the part 1 here pretty soon. G1 Climax, everything all set and ready to go. Just now have to wait until we get the special shows on the weekend, and then we wait until the 17th for the whole thing to start. ROH, Best in the World review, and everything else. So you want to make sure you check those out. Until next week, we'll see you later, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.